Remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam from clay, and then he breathed something into him, and that gave him a spiritual life. That spirit from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala resides within us, and we have been told by our Creator Himself that I am closer to you than your jugular vein. So He is within us, close to us. So we have one physical being, which is what you see as a body, human body that is made out of clay and dust. It was taken from this earth, and it will stay here on this earth. The other part we have of our being is our spiritual being that is contained within ourselves in a place called qalb or heart, but it's not physically the heart that we see pumping. It is something like that in there, whose actual structure is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only knows best, because it's not necessarily part of the flesh that you see. It's something much more profound and deep. So here we are. Physical body from this earth will stay here, takes care of itself by the nourishment that comes to it from products of this earth. But the spiritual being requires connection and recognition of your Creator, and you have to make a connection to Him to develop that kind of a body. Some philosophers have called it Hudi, or your spiritual being, that is your true self. And we are asked to recognize that portion of our body, develop it to a point where we can connect to our Creator. Now I'll use two verses from Rumi to elaborate on this today, again trying to keep this matter fairly simple. Rumi says, Aina dil chun shavad safi o pak, naksha bini, baroon az abo khak, sirre man az nalay man dur nist, lek chashmo goshra anur nest. So he says that Aina dil chu shavad safi o pak, when the mirror of your heart becomes clean and transparent and pure, naksha bini barum ashabo haq, then it sees the images from outside this world that you see made of dust and water. He says, then you see the images that are not from this world. They are from a different world. You can see those images once you clean your heart and connect it to its Creator. In the next line he says, Sirreman ad nalayaman durnis. Our secret is not necessarily really away from what we can say or talk. We basically can talk about that secret and learn about that secret. Lek chashmo goshra anurnes. But he says, our eyes and our ears do not have that ability, that vision, that they can see all of that. We have to develop that vision. We have to create that vision. We have to perceive that vision so that we can connect to our Creator, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, to oversimplify this, I can tell you that even the best of the best, even the messengers themselves also, continue to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for their forgiveness, Born pure, given a job by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, protected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from all evil, and yet they continue to pray for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy. Mercy, O our Creator, mercy, mercy, because that is the secret of your actually success in the life hereafter. Now, on the other hand, people may have committed all kinds of bad deeds, all kinds of crimes, but they end up doing something that is very, very pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Maybe they took care of an animal that was dying of thirst and they gave him water or whatever else. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala liked that. And they are then given the option and they are forgiven. All those bad deeds that they have done, doesn't matter. They are basically forgiven. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has puts His mercy on their side and they are forgiven. We are told also in Al-Quran that, O believers, do not raise your voices in presence of your beloved Prophet. Don't raise your voice above his voice to show any disrespect to him. Because if you did that, all your good deeds will be demolished. And you may not even realize that. You won't even realize that I have to repent or say sorry or apologize. And you will not have that opportunity to seek forgiveness. All your deeds are gone and you are destined to hellfire. Put these things together and then realize that actual strength that we have is mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we should continue to seek that. Seek His forgiveness, seek His mercy. Regardless of how many hajjs and umrahs you do, you cannot count on your good deeds necessarily, because who knows in what capacity, at what time you did what that was not pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you may lose all that you have done in your life. Now, knowing this, our mission should really be to do things that are building our inner self, building our spiritual self. Think of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all the time. Feel His presence, which is called taqwa. Taqwa is when you realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all around you and He is watching over you. He knows what you are thinking. He knows what you're doing. And you have to remember that that is actually happening. Not just declaring it, but feeling it. Once you feel it, that will protect you from doing something that is not pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And once you make that intention and you really mean that, and you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to take over from there, because you are not capable of doing anything, you basically are there basically with the abilities given to you by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you put your affairs to Him and say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I have made this commitment, I'm submitting myself totally to you, I will do exactly what is pleasing to you, but I may not be able to recognize right from wrong. Please guide me along and I'm at your mercy. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with His mercy, takes over. Once that happens, then the journey becomes easy. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes you wherever He feels that you are capable of. He will put you wherever He needs you. Sometimes even hardship will come your way, not realizing that that hardship is for a different reason. Just like if you remember, Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam was put in the prison, was given hardship over there, was many times assaulted, beaten up in the prison. And yet, he continued to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and continued to deliver His message and continue to rely upon what is eventually going to happen. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala needed him to salvage those people and save the nation of Egypt from that 7 years of shortage of rain and water and shortage of the things to eat, at that time he was able to deliver that to the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and save so many lives and fulfill the prophecy. So many times we may find things that are happening to us that may look negative, and yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a better plan for us, provided we trust in Him. So this is basically what we will be talking about in future sessions also. I simply wanted to set the ground rules today, set you in a kind of a position where in these talks that I give before our azan for Salah, I basically try to talk about spirituality and how we should be really connected to our inner selves. There are sayings, or maybe some people think it's a hadith, others think it may not be a hadith, but it's a fairly well accepted saying that whosoever recognizes himself recognizes God. Man arafa nafasa faqad arafa rabba. Whosoever recognizes himself recognizes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Once you recognize you realize that you are the manifestation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's characteristics. If Allah gives life, He has given you the permission to also create life on this earth. If Allah takes life away from somebody, He has given you that ability also to end somebody's life. That does not mean that you have become Allah. That only means that you are doing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's work by His permission, by the ability that He has given you, and yet you may think that you are not necessarily doing anything important. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to understand as to what we are, why we are here in this earth, what we are supposed to do, and how we are supposed to be representatives of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's characteristics, to serve His creation and to serve Him in spreading His message across all humanity, people that are not born in Muslim families, for them also to receive this message and take a choice whether they will accept it or not. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also give us this ability to pass this on to our children and their children in future, so that they can continue this on after we are gone. Jazakumullahu khair. Assalamu alaikum.